So today is the day, my first ever half marathon, the big race, the event that I have been doing all the training for, and unfortunately it's been cancelled. I got an email on Friday morning saying that the event had been cancelled, and I've actually since read in the newspaper that the company that were responsible for organising this half marathon are notorious for this kind of thing. So, and the reviews also said it wasn't the best organised half marathon they've ever done anyway, from previous marathon attempts. So, I'm a little bit disappointed. I was also a little bit relieved, if I'm being honest, because I was a little bit frightened of doing it. Because I thought, oh man, am I going to manage? I'm going to do it. So, it was a strange. A strange little time on Friday, because instantly when I heard it, I had that kind of, oh man, it's been cancelled. But then I had that moment of relief where I was like, oh, I don't have to run 13 miles on Sunday. That's awesome. But because I had that thought in my head, I instantly came home and mapped out a route for 13 miles or 13.1 miles, whatever it is, at home. It's actually a little bit more than that. It's about 13.8 or something, I don't know. So I'm still going to run the race. I'm still going to run the half marathon. I'm still going to run the distance. It's just not going to be an official run anymore. It's just going to be me against me. There will be no other people there. There will be no medal at the finish. There will be no family cheering me on at the finish. It's just me running around the streets on a stinky cold Scottish day, with my own thoughts and nothing else going on. So I think this will be more difficult because the route is more difficult. It's a much more hilly route. So I think overall it's going to be a more difficult run from that perspective, but it's also going to be a more difficult run from a mental perspective or a mindset perspective, because if truth be told, I don't want to do it. I don't want to run. I've got a bit of a cold going on. My knee hurts. I went training yesterday, which was a bit silly because I knew I was going to do it, but I went training anyway, so my legs are a bit sore. My knee hurts because I've banged knees with somebody. I'm a little bit tired. I've got all these different things going on, but I made a commitment. I made a commitment to do a thing, so I'm going to stick to the thing. I'm going to stick to doing the thing. This has been a big part of my evolution as a person over this last year. I think the things that I'm really trying to work on with my own personal development is, if I say that I'm going to do something, I'm going to do the thing. It doesn't matter if it's difficult, it doesn't matter if it's really challenging, it doesn't matter if it's something I don't want to do. If I say I'm going to do it, then I'm going to do it. I'm going to stick true to that word, not just so I can build trust, in me from other people's perspectives, but also so I can build trust within myself, right? To build my own self-belief and to build my own confidence. Because if we always say that we're going to do something, and then we don't do it, we don't follow through and don't do the thing, slowly but surely that just chips away at our own confidence, our own self-belief in ourselves, because we never follow through in the things that we're going to say, and so many people fall into that trap. So this has been a big thing for me this year. If I say I'm going to do a thing, if it's on my calendar, then I'm going to do it, regardless of how I feel. Like my feelings are irrelevant at this point in time. It's a commitment I've made. It's something I'm going to do. If this is a promise that I had made to Cameron, my daughter, if I had told her I was definitely going to do something for her, I would make sure I follow through in it, because if I didn't, she would lose trust in me as her dad. Right, so I'd make sure that I follow through. If I was working for somebody and I was told I had to do a certain job by a certain time, I'd make sure I had that job done. If I've got things to do for my clients, if I tell them I'm going to have something done by whatever day, I need to make sure I've got that thing done. Otherwise, I don't have any clients, because I'm not following through in the things I say I need to do. So it's really important that I continue to do those things for myself as well. So. So this is me. I'm just about to get myself ready to go. I have drunk some water. I've drunk a bit of juice. I've been to the toilet. Like a big thing that I've noticed over this period of training over the last 7 weeks leading up to this point is, every time I go for a longer run, I get hit with this really urgent call of nature where I need to go to the toilet about halfway through. So if there's not a toilet on the route, I'm snookered. I need to go in a bush somewhere, which is okay if you're having a pee, but when it's one of those sit down bad boys, it's a bit of a struggle. So I'm not sure how we'll manage that. I don't know if that'll hit me or not. I've already been to the toilet and kind of moved things along, so I'm hoping that I don't need to try and find somewhere to jump in and answer nature's call. But we'll see what happens. So there'll be a few videos along the way. The route that I've got is quite boring in places, really nice in a couple other places. So I'll do a couple of videos along the way, just getting a wee update as to how I'm feeling, and then I'll obviously take some videos of some of the nicer parts that I run through, and then we'll do a full debrief at the end, and I'll let you know how I feel or don't feel. And I've got quite a lot to do today as well. I've got quite a lot on later on in the day, so let's just see how my legs hold up with this. But anyway, this is me. I am going to sign off from this. The next time you see me, I'll be out running about and probably hating my life. But hey ho, these are the challenges we face, and these are the things that we need to push through to get us to the other side. So yeah, we'll see you on the streets.
Alrighty, so that's about a mile in, 12 to go. Ooh, yeah. So we're just heading down hill at the minute to the kind of lowest point, I suppose, on the run, which is then going to take me into the first big hill. So that's normally one where I'm blowing at my arse by the time we get to the top. So, but the pace so far is quite good. Lungs are feeling good. A couple of wee niggles are starting to kind of show up that I've noticed throughout the course of the training. My hip flexor more than anything else, but other than that, I'm feeling pretty damn good after a mile. Still a long way to go, but yeah, I feel this pace I could keep on going for quite a while. I think, like I said in my last training session video, I didn't feel it was ever the cardio side of things that was going to let me down. The hills cause a problem. The hills make my heart rate spike, make my lungs get a bit panicked, but I felt overall the cardio side of things was never ever going to be an issue, especially at this pace. I mean, I can talk, I can, I can obviously hold conversation at this pace. It's just whether or not my legs can keep on going through the whole distance. So that'll be the big test for today. But at 1 mile in, feeling good. So. Okay, so that's the biggest hill done. It was a bit of a grind to get up it. Slow and steady wins the race, so we're on a nice steady downhill now, and then there's a few flats. That's me just over 4 kilometres in, so I'm just over 2 miles. Other than just coming up a hill, still feeling pretty good. Legs are feeling good. Hip flexor niggles holding up, so it's all feeling good so far. So nice wee bit downhill, a couple of flats, and then that takes us on to the big long straight along to probably the nicest part of the course that I've mapped out. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, still feeling good, that's the main thing. So hopefully we can keep this going at this pace, and we should make a decent time. For me, it won't be a world record, that's for sure, but it'll be something that I'll be happy with. So. And now for the nicest part of the run. So I just do like a mile or so along a nice wee flat coastal path. So I'll be glad of it, because I'll tell you, my legs are really starting to feel it. That's me about 6 miles in, maybe 7 miles in, I think. Still a few to go. So the stairs. The map didn't say anything about fucking stairs. What's going on with that? Jesus Christ. It's like the creepy wee path to nowhere. Where does it go? Let's see. Hopefully it takes me where I need to be and I'm not completely fucking lost. Worth it for the view though. Forth bridges in the background. Foreground, background. Yeehaw. And that's like Edinburgh, way over yonder, like beyond the hills and stuff. Leith will be across there, you can see that. Nice. Right, I'm in Hopeward Wood. What an aptly named little bit. So I took a bit of a wrong turn, came way off my path that I'd planned out, which was mostly flat, but to be honest it's been quite a good wee wrong turn because it's brought me to quite a cool wee place. So there's been more walking than I would have liked, because there's been a lot more hills and a lot of stairs. But it's pretty damn cool, to be honest. But definitely a lot more difficult than I'd intended that little portion to be. Alrighty, so that's me about halfway. Cardio wise, still a piece of piss. Leg wise, starting to struggle a wee bit. They're feeling a bit tired, they're feeling heavy. And the desire to stop is strong, but I'll keep pushing. So the furthest I've run up to this point is 15 kilometres, so I'm just over 3 off that now, which means I've got that 3 to do to hit my previous personal best. Then I've got about another 5 or 6k to grind out after that, which I think I'll manage. I know I'll manage. Even if I've got to slow down to a shuffle, I'll definitely manage. But so far up to this point, everything's feeling good. Just a wee bit of tiredness in the legs, which, if that's the worst I've got to deal with, then I can keep pushing, and it's worth it for the views. So minus the trees out of the way. Not long to go now. Fucking stairs. What's going on with these stairs? The map don't show you stairs, man. Jesus Christ. And then a monster hill. It's a fine time to slow it down to a walk. Whew, yeah. Man, it doesn't look all that steep, but holy shit. Okay, so now we're going into uncharted territory. We're just crossing, or just about to cross, the 15k mark, which will be officially the furthest I've ever run. And my house is just back here. I could so easily just go home. I did that on purpose. I wanted to give myself that out to see if I would have the mental drive to actually push on past and keep going, which I'm happy to say I have. Don't know if it's a good idea or not, but cardio wise, man, energy wise, I feel really good. My legs feel really heavy now. I stopped just 2 or 3 minutes ago to get across the road, and as I was standing waiting the lights changing to green, my legs were vibrating, man, they were numb. So yeah, this is the last 5 and a bit k, last wee push, and then I will have officially, but unofficially, have completed a half marathon. Come on, you can do it. Right. I've had to slow down to a walk for the last big hill of the run. I've got a pretty long, slow, tedious straight road to go and run now to get the last wee bit of this run finished. I'm sitting about 18 kilometres, so about 4 or something to go. But this is the last hill, so my legs are absolutely fried. This is the furthest I've ever run, walked. I've had a couple of strategic small walks dotted here and there just to get up hills or get upstairs, whatever, but I've ran pretty much all the way. But I'm not going to stop. I can do it. Last wee push. Long and straight, baby, long and straight. That's what she said. So, got just under a mile left, and I'm having to walk quite a lot of it. So, run for a wee bit, walk for a wee bit. It's just over 2.5 hours, which is way longer than I was wanting to be, but I don't fucking care. I had 3 objectives in mind, which I'll explain when I can fucking talk properly. So, last mile, nearly there. Whew. Let's go. Okay, so that was officially the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. That was horrendous. The last, after I hit the 15k mark, that was a struggle. I had to really dig deep to get through that.
and I had to do a lot of kind of walking, running just to get through. So I am now going to go and eat and drink loads. It was a hell of a Thursday. So I'm going to go and get some calories in me, get changed, get showered, and then I will do a full debrief once I've composed myself. Alrighty, so I am now fed, I am watered and somewhat recovered. That was tough, for lack of a better term. So I got to around the 15k mark, which is up until this point is the furthest I've ever run. I got to that point and I was feeling okay, and then it started to go a bit pear-shaped. So I started to kind of really struggle at that point. My cardio-wise was fine. Cardio-wise, honestly, was fine. I think I could have kept on going. My lungs were holding up. My cardio was fine. I was feeling good. But my legs were so heavy. My legs got so tired. At certain points, when I stopped for like at traffic lights and stuff to let some cars go by, I could actually feel my legs vibrating, which was an interesting experience, especially when I then had to try and get moving again to run. That was really tough. So overall, I'm super happy that I made it. I got all the way around. It was like 2 hours and 45 minutes or something, which is way longer than I had hoped. I was hoping to do it in about 2 hours and 15, so it's like 30 minutes longer than I'd hoped. I've got a few lessons that I think I've learned that I will cover as we go through this. But I think, to be honest, I think if I was the route that I ran round about my local area is quite a hilly route. There are a lot of hills, and I think because there are so many hills, that definitely slowed me down a lot. And I had to walk a few bits, so a lot of the hills that came up, the first few hills were fine. I ran up them no problem, and then towards the end, when I started hitting some more hills, I had to walk. I had to kind of take my time and walk. And then towards the end, it was very much, as I mentioned in some of the videos, it was very much a walk, then run, then a walk, then a run, just to get me, especially with that last sort of 2 or maybe 3 kilometres. I found that a real grind to try and get myself through. So, but overall, I think I could do it faster if the route were flatter. So the official race that I was supposed to run was supposed to be quite a flat route. I feel like I could do that a little bit faster. I am going to sign up for the Edinburgh Half Marathon, which has a massive downhill portion to it. So they hail themselves as being the fastest half marathon in the world. So I think the downhill parts should be all right. So we'll sign up for that. That's in May next year. So there's like 6 months to go until that comes around. So I think that's going to be a decent one to get started on, like for an official one, so I can actually finish an official race. So I'll definitely sign up for that. I'll keep the training going in the meantime. But a few lessons learned over this experience. So first and foremost, the biggest thing that I've taken away from this, for me, from a personal perspective, was my initial thought when I seen this race was cancelled. My initial thought was, yes, I don't have to run this big long distance. That was my initial thought. Sorry if you can hear some noise in the background. I've got some guessing and stuff, so apologies if you can hear all of that. But that was my initial thought, was, yeah, beauty, I don't have to run this race. I don't have to do this. But then almost as soon as I had that thought, almost as soon as that thought came into my mind, I instantly started to think about a route that I could run. Because something that I'm really working on, I think I mentioned it at the very start, is if I make a commitment to something, I want to make sure I follow through on that commitment. Not just a commitment that I would say to somebody else, oh, I'm going to do this for you. Not just that. The commitments I make for me. Like if I say that I'm going to do something that's for me, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to eat healthier, I'm not going to eat sugar this week, or I'm going to make sure I get 3 runs in this week. For me, it's super important that I make sure I do those things. Right? I make sure that I finish the things that I've committed myself to doing. I think this is a very, very important thing for me from a mental perspective, to help me really kind of move myself forward. Because if I'm always half-arsing things, if I'm always stopping things, and not actually following through in the things that I say I'm going to do, slowly but surely that chips away at your confidence, it chips away at your self-belief, and that's when you end up getting stuck in a rut and you're like, oh, I've no motivation, I can't do this, and that's not where I want to be. I've been there before, I don't want to be there. So it was super, super important for me to make sure that I followed through and did what I said I was going to do. So I mapped out this route, I got it done, and obviously from a very naive standpoint, I know this to be true, but when I map out a little route, first and foremost, I did get lost. I got lost at one point, so I ended up going somewhere that I wasn't meant to go. which was okay because I ended up on a really nice wee path. It was quite cool, but there were a lot of stairs. There were a lot of stairs, man, which I didn't take into account for on the map. So when I was looking at the map, I had a few bits where I knew there were hills that were going to be that I might potentially walk up, but there were a lot of stairs, and I didn't take into account that there were going to be stairs. So I had to go up a few stairs, which was okay, but it wasn't, it wasn't ideal. So there were a few kind of walking points, things that sapped the energy and sapped the legs a wee bit, but yeah, all things considered, I am delighted that I managed to get round. My objectives before I started, so before, I think I'm going a bit back and forward here. I've got some lessons that I'll talk about in a wee second, but my objectives before I ran this race, I had 3 objectives. I kind of looked at it as a gold medal, a silver medal, and a bronze medal. My gold medal was to finish round about that sort of 2 hour time. That was my gold medal finish, if I was going to finish, for me personally. Obviously I know the medals when you finish a race officially, they're all the same, unless you actually win the thing. But for me, my own personal victory was going to be gold medal, around about the sort of 2 hour mark. My silver medal was to be around about the sort of 2:30, was my kind of silver medal, and my bronze medal was just to finish the bloody thing. So as it stands at the moment, I'm going to consider myself as getting a bronze medal. Alright, so I've taken home a bronze, which I'm really happy with. Alright, I'm really, really happy. I feel like I could have done better. I did only prep for this for 7 weeks. It was only a 7-week kind of run into it. I think with a little bit more time where I could build up those longer runs and get that endurance in my legs along with the endurance work that I was doing in the gym, I feel like that I would have had more benefit from that, which would have then transferred into the actual race or the run itself, and it would have served me a lot better. The next one, like I say, is 6 months away, so I'm definitely going to keep up with the sort of training schedule I'm doing just now, that sort of 2 to 3 runs a week, depending on my wife's schedules, depending on what Hazel's doing. On the weeks where she's working earlier shifts and I can get out in the early evenings for some runs, then I'll be getting those 3 runs a week for sure. The weeks where she's not working those earlies and I can only do 2 runs in a week, then it'll be 2 runs a week. But I'll always do a longer run and then a much higher intensity run. So and that'll be my training plan moving forward. So, but with that being said, my biggest lessons, things that I've really learned, or mistakes that I feel I made in doing this run, where I didn't have hydration with me. I didn't take anything with me to hydrate as I went round the run, which was definitely a mistake. It was a big mistake because around about the 10k I started to get a little bit thirsty. And my lips were really chapped, but luckily in my pocket I found my chapstick. I didn't think I had it with me and I was like, oh man, disaster, my lips were getting really chapped. But I found this about the halfway mark, which was a godsend, man. Once I got my lips kind of a bit more like lubricated, that took away that kind of stress, and the hydration thing, it didn't feel like it was an issue at that point. When I hit around about the 15k mark, when my legs started to tire, and these two things might be, well, they probably are very much connected, I started to feel really, really thirsty. I could have really been doing with a drink at that point. And I think those two things probably are connected because I didn't have the proper hydration going round, which is probably where an aid station would have been if it had been an official race. Because I didn't have that, I started to feel really thirsty, and everything felt sluggish then after that. It was a real grind to keep on moving. I feel if I'd had that, it would have made a huge difference. So I think having a hydration pack or having a small bottle with me where I can get a couple of drinks going round would make a huge difference. In addition to that, I also think because I was burning up so many calories throughout the run, even though I ate well in the morning, I had a good hearty breakfast, I had a lot of carbs in the morning to kind of give me that fuel going through the run. I feel that having some energy gels or something to give me a little bit of calories as I was going round and just give me that wee boost, I think that would have made a huge difference as well. So the next time I do anything like this of this kind of distance, I'm going to make sure 100%, I'm going to order a hydration vest today. And once that gets here, then that's going to take away that one aspect of it. I'll get used to running with that on my back, because what that'll also add in is extra weight. Because if I put a couple of litres of water on my back, it's an extra couple of kilos on my body weight, which will ultimately make the run initially harder until I get used to running with that on my back. So I'll definitely order one of those to take care of that aspect, that side of things. And I'll also make sure that I look into, before I do any kind of longer runs, I'll have some kind of energy gel or something there that will give me that little bit of nutrition or that wee bit of extra calories as I'm running to just help keep me moving forward. And hopefully that'll help to kind of mitigate the really tired leg feeling that I got round about that sort of 15 kilometre mark. Because at that point then I've still got 6 kilometres to run. Right, I've still got 6k to run, which if you say to me, maybe not just now because my legs are fried, excuse me, But if you say to me, you know, in a few days' time, go and run 6 kilometres, like now, I wouldn't bat an eyelid at that. It'd be easy. Whereas before, like 6 kilometres, 5 kilometres, 6 kilometres was really tough for me. Now I can blast out fairly easy. So I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed with this is that doing the right kind of training really makes a difference. Because up until this point, and I think I've said this in one of the earlier videos in the series, when I was running 5Ks before, I couldn't see how I was going to get from 5K to 20k, which is or 21k, which is a half marathon, because at the end of a 5k I was burst because I was just running all out to see how quickly I could do it. I thought, how am I supposed to get from there to like 3 times that distance, or 3 and a bit times that distance? I couldn't comprehend that in my head. I couldn't see it. And then thinking about how was I going to get that to a marathon, like how am I supposed to sustain that for a marathon? I couldn't understand, and it's because I was training the wrong way. Right, so I need to be making sure I'm training in the right way, so that I can actually do these longer runs, all right, and that is vitally important. So, I think the biggest development in myself over this last 7 weeks is learning that side of things, is learning how to actually run slower, so that I can run for longer. And then by running slower, what I also noticed was that my times for things like my 5k and my 10k, when I was actually pushing a little bit, were starting to come down. My 10Ks I didn't actually push that. I didn't do a full all-out 10k. But what I did notice was that even though my 10Ks that I did run were slightly longer than my fast 10k, the fastest one I could do, I didn't feel as wasted at the end of them, because I was running the right way. All right. Whereas I think with my 5Ks, I still felt wasted at the end of them, but that's because I was going all out. If I'd kept on just training like that, I would never have been able to do this run that I was doing today. Never. I don't think in my experience of kind of what I was going through. So definitely made some big progress. Huge progress moving forward. I think definitely things to work on. Definitely things to kind of take away. I think I can maybe adjust my training a little bit to be more suited towards actually doing this half marathon and not feeling like I'm going to die at the end of it. Because I would like to be able to kind of do 13 miles without feeling absolutely trashed at the end, which is what I felt today, and then be able to move on and do that full marathon. So my intention is to do half marathon in May for the Edinburgh Half Marathon, and then the the Loch Ness Marathon as my first marathon in October next year. Those are my goals for next year in terms of running. And I might do a few smaller events like obstacle courses and stuff like that in between times, just to keep things moving. But those are my 2 main goals for things that I want to run next year, and taking the things that I've learned from this experience, from this half marathon and the training leading up to this. There are definitely things I can work on that I think will massively improve my overall performance. Again, at this stage I'm not hugely fussed on times. I would like to get my time down from 2:45 for a half marathon, because that's then going into over 5 hours for a marathon. I would like to get close to the 2 hour mark for a half, and then that 4 hour mark for a marathon. That would be awesome. But at this stage I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself to do that. I'm still very much new to the whole running game, so it's going to be a progression. It's going to take time. But yeah, there's a lot to work on, a lot to kind of take away from this experience, and a lot of things to really now process and help me move forward to the next one. So that is it. Half marathon done ish, officially but unofficially. I've got no medal to show for it, but that doesn't matter to me. I've got the satisfaction of knowing I've got it done, and my dog's having an absolute fit down the stairs, so I do apologise for the noise in the background. But hey ho, anyway, listen, if you have enjoyed this series, if you've got any questions about anything that I've done over the last 7 weeks, then please drop me a comment down below, and if you haven't done so already, then make sure you're liking these videos, because that helps the algorithm, it helps YouTube to pump these out to more people, and maybe consider dropping me a wee subscribe as well, because I do more videos than just kind of training prep. But moving forward, there's going to be a lot more kind of interviews with experts in other fields, also a lot more kind of things that I'm doing training wise, as well as just my general thoughts and insights into what's going down in the world. So do consider hitting that subscribe button, and at the very least make sure you're popping like on the videos to help that algorithm. And maybe drop me a comment, say hi. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, that is me for this one. I'm now going to properly go and stuff my face. I've had a little bit of nutrition, but in the way of a smoothie earlier on. But I'm now going to go and have a huge Indian. So yeah, really stuff my face and eat back all those calories that I just burned up doing a 21 kilometre run. Woo! And then I'll probably not walk for the next 4 days. So anyway, that's us for this one. Thank you for watching this series if you have watched it. If you've not watched it, go back and watch the whole thing, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.